to limit themselves to Philly. There's lots of work up and down the corridor. And I think that if once you become that valuable, then you'll see that. So that's one thing. We also, so I will share the list with you guys. It literally lists all creatives and not actors on purpose. So, and then playwrights too, and composers and lyricists, like that's on the list. So let's look at that.
As she said, there are plenty of databases, plenty of Google Docs going on where they are forming lists for people to be able to see us and be seen.
And we can merge those together as much as possible.
All right.
Like far as I'm a local business person and part-time actor, but I agree with there's something broken with the business model and the funding that she was talking about. But the other side that we don't talk about is taking in investors. I mean, a lot of us have grand ideas. A lot of our writers and producers and directors, we have to get out of the way of our egos and make different package productions. Because there are some corporations, some organizations that may pay to entertain or teach their corporations or their groups. So we need to be able to package that so that we have a product going out on a regular basis, creating a cash stream that can learn to monetize. We've mastered the arts, we have not mastered the business. And once we create that revenue stream, we have money to look at.
Do we have are y'all still working on it, or they are up now? So we can take three of our.
I would wait until we get it. We get a confirmation from Zach. We're back. We've got a stream back. I'm still waiting for confirmation that we have Zoom back into it.
Yeah, are y'all still working on it, or they are up now? So we can take three of our. Are they coming in? Are they?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
So before let's keep moving.
Yes,
I would like to propose all this business brilliant minded people in here and all the needs that us black people have in there. The city forms a meeting where we can sit at the table and come up with a list, come up with the investors, come up with the need for money, and we can put that together and keep it open all the time. Because what I find what black people do is we get a little information and we keep it to ourselves. I'm warning the people that are here today. When we get information, we don't even tell each other about auditions, let alone about getting money or who's trying to hook up somebody over here. We don't do it. I think this is great. I think C is a leader in pulling people together, and we do a great job in talking about it. I propose Z that we have a meeting right here at CEC. We clear off the long table and bring our investors, our money people, our people who know the arts, the people who know the arts up and down the East Coast. We all come together with this information and we compose a list and we put it out there for anybody who wants to know. And it has to be easy enough so everybody can see it and do it and get to it. Also, I want to hear what Brian was going to offer the sister over there about what program he knows that has the money for different things. I would like you to finish that statement, please.
well,
If that's possible.
wait a minute, are they pulled up? If not, then Brian can finish. But as far as resources, we can always do a mass grant or put it out inside of the event for any resources that we need. So that way we're not taking up too much time. Okay, are you ready? Yes? Okay.
You need to redo the question so they can hear it. You need to redo the question, reintroduce the question for them.
So can you have the first question, the question that they just had?
Oh, yes, I gave it.
You've got a copy. I want you to.
Just, I'll say it.
Go ahead.
I'm like this. Are we still doing Victor's question? This one, okay. Sorry. How do we? What can we do to ensure that the tables we do have are supported How can the people in this room and on this live today contribute to make sure these companies, theater and the Ants, First World, Kaleidoscope, have what they need? And there is actually a second question that goes right, it's the same. So basically, they're not asking for funding. I have no qualms with getting a bag for my people. However, there's a way that we can pool our funds together with those who claim to be allies and make sure our theaters are not struggling. The simple question is how can you pool money together, and how can you make sure that the current Black spaces that do exist have what they need?
Okay, that question is for all of the folks on Zoom that are part of the panel. If anybody would like to answer that question, please take your mute off and put on your video and identify yourself.
Are you asking who asks the question?
I'm sorry, no, we're asking for an answer to the question, what can we do to ensure that the tables we do have are supported? How can the people in this room contribute to making sure these companies have what they need?
I think a good way to start, I mean, hi everyone, hi. I don't know if anyone can see or hear me, and I hope there's not a lot of feedback, but I'm just gonna go for it. I think that this space that we have created virtually and in room is a very special place and time. Like, it is like theater, yeah? It's not, this moment is never gonna exist again on this plane. So let's talk business. I'm talking like right now. Like, what do we have? Like, I have right now, not even playing, I got $100 to my name. It's in the bag. What do we need to do? Cause talk, like Mama C said, shout out to Mama Z. Hey, she raised me. Because it can go further than just talking about it. We all have resources. I know we're struggling. I know it's COVID. I know we're struggling, but what do you have? Like, we all have something that we can offer to make sure that our theaters at home are supported. And I'm willing to I'm just like, what can we do in this room? Because yes, we can talk theoretical and ephemeral, but I got $100 on it. What y'all got? And not even like, oh, what money, but like, what can we do? That's just an example. I'm just saying, like, now with these people that we have in this moment, what can you give? I can give my time. I'm more than welcome. I'm already starting the resource list for the funders, as I have some funders already. What can we do? What can we do? Hi, everyone. Hi, Walter. Sorry, I just had to say hi, Walter. Sorry, hi. Okay. Stop fangirling.
Okay, and if anybody else would like to answer, I'm sorry, I'm just moderating. Yes, Penelope, please, by all means. You need to unmute yourself, though.
Yes, I love what Morgan says, because we each have connections. I'm no longer producing artistic director, but my son is producing artistic director of Hedgerow, and he has started since March 16th, when we didn't do Gin Game, to every day the house company puts on something, and he's reaching out now for multicultural voices. I know Brian is doing something, and I think Newton Buchanan, if you know him. But what I'm thinking off of what Morgan just was asking, I'm in a team of 50 people that are part of a thing called You Are Action, which Chris Satula, formerly of Inquirer, is on, and there are 6 people in 8 different groups, and they range. And since all of this horror has been happening, we are committing ourselves. We've met 2 times. This 3rd time, which is Wednesday, we're all getting together, each in our groups, to come up with our new focus now, whether it's bridging bridging demographics. We're looking at how do you converse together and build things better, to space, offering space for people to have this kind of experience. So I think every single one of us have connecting links. And I already thought it would be great to have multiple voices talking from all different cultures and ages, showing a commitment how we're working together, and models of how one can talk together. So that's what I could work on putting on the table, since I'm part of that group. And perhaps we could get real models with some of these wonderful artists that are talking today and see where we can collaborate. Marcia Salvatore, which Terry will remember, was really into bringing the different artistic directors together with Philadelphia Theater Alliance years ago. So maybe we can have an alliance where its focus is on what the UArts is on, UR Action is on exploring racial injustice in communities in a variety of areas. So what do you think?
Thank you very much. And Jen Cleary asked to speak. Jen, if you could just introduce yourself and unmute yourself.
Yep. Hey there. I'm Jen Cleary. I'm on the board of Power Street Theater, and I'm also the production manager for the Bearded Ladies Cabaret. So in order to support other theater companies that are here, I've been reaching out to a couple of you, have heard from me, especially today. There is a production managers forum where we do share resources. If you would like to be included on this list, because it is not a comprehensive list of theater companies, and I would like to add you to the list so you can have a seat at the table and know that there are things out there for your productions when you get back into your theaters that are available to you. Hit me up. I will write my email address in the chat and let me know so that way I can add you and your company to the list. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. And Gabby also wanted to respond.
Hey, y'all.
Awesome.
I don't know if you can see me now.
You can.
Cool. So I think I've been like grappling with, I'm so here for like the offering of spaces. The reality is most of the time I don't want to work in your space. Your space is not where my people have been invited to or been promoted. So oftentimes, like, I hear that, and I think that is like the easy answer. Here's a space. However, that's not what I actually need. Like, I have spaces in my community. We do stuff on the streets because we've had no other option, and we've been quite successful. We've done things in gardens, you know. We, like Walter said, I'm not interested in being a token for the Hispanic Heritage Month. And I'm gonna say that again, because I just even got a call about that today. I'm interested in, if you're really about change, what are you willing to give up? This was a question that was at the meeting, the anti-oppression meeting that was led by Faith Jones-Jackson and Amy Smith, which I would recommend. I don't know if you were there, Terry, or other people were there, and I just naturally calling you out, Terry, in this moment, just because this is my first time, you know, kind of seeing you, and we're talking about WANA, but I'm interested in how do I talk to the people that are on this chat, because I've tagged many of your companies when I've dealt with a racist publicly, and your companies have been silent, along with a lot of other folks that have been silent in a moment that someone who has worked for your company as a teaching artist being tokenized to work in some of the, some of the districts that have been underserved by our city, children that are happy to see me. And I struggled with not going back to the art and as a teaching artist, because I was worried that like they would not have someone that talks Philly John language to them, right? And like that could hold space for them in their true self. But is disheartening because I've worked for a lot of your institutions on a very micro level. But to see the lack of support I have received from your organizations in the silence feels violent. And I can say this publicly because I will fund myself and I will survive on my own. And I have privilege that a lot of my other comrades and siblings don't have to say this publicly, right? But I'm calling on Arden Theater Company right now as someone who has left your job, left working for the Arden, crying every day because of the disparities I was facing as a teaching artist, right? And when someone publicly is racist towards my family, towards me, and you are silent, I'm pissed off, I'm angry, and I'm glad you're here because you know what? I want you to hear my anger. I want you to do better. And you're not the only one. So just know that this is my moment to talk to you publicly out loud, right? And everybody else, you know, Iron Age, don't hit me up to do free work, all right? Don't hit me up to do Hispanic Heritage Month. I have love for y'all, but y'all don't know me. I don't owe you anything. And I don't owe you anything just because you're doing something in a community. Folks are doing that work. Stop thinking that y'all are coming in as white saviors and then asking people of color to do the work for you for free. And you don't even have the audacity to ask me, how am I doing? How am I holding up? How is my well-being? Let's be clear that you are all making salaries right now. And I know how the funding world works. I'm not scared to call out the funders either. I have said no to the dollars with integrity. You know what? And it was at the cost of me having to live with 3 people in my home. It was at the cost of not being able to help my family. It was at the cost of a lot of things. Lanish, my sister, just today I had to pick up the call and she had to take an hour of her fucking time to hold space for me. Thank you, sis, because I literally had no one else to go to. So who holds space for me are the mothers, are the Black women, even for me, hold space for me. They don't owe me shit and they do that for me. So I expect y'all to do better, not for me, but for those for the Black children, my Black family, the Black siblings, like the kids that I grew up with, like in West Philly, North Philly, all around that have not, that y'all got William Penn money for. And y'all living off of a salary, y'all living well. So don't come asking me to do anything for you anymore. I hope y'all all hear that. And don't you dare ask any of my comrades and Black siblings to do any more free labor when it's gonna benefit your company, okay? Because it's benefiting your company, you're getting tagged on it, everybody could see it. I'm calling out racist Brian, he's still a racist. That shit don't change overnight. What are y'all gonna do about it? It's called accountability, Dan Eisen. I love you. I respect you. I'm glad you're here. I haven't had the time. I'm publicly saying I haven't had the time to get back to you because I wanted to come back to you with love. But I'm just saying this right now. When I speak from my heart, I'm not saying this as a way to create separation, but I am saying this, accountability is different than punishment. And you know what? Who's been punished? We have been punished. We have been punished. And I've been on the brink of almost giving up plenty of times. And I can't imagine, Ms. Z, who has been here, Ms. Z, we just met through the town hall the digital rally. And Ms. Z reached out to me immediately and was like, I hear that you never had a mentor. I'm here for you. Here's my number. Thank you, Ms. Z. I love you. Ms. Z don't owe me that. But y'all owe us something because you know what? We've done a lot for you. And you know what? You got William Penn funding because I did a hell of a good job being one of your best teaching artists for the Arden. And I'm saying that out loud. You owe me better than what you have done for me and for my community. So don't come for Hispanic Heritage Month. And this is to all y'all. This is not just to the Arden. I'm specifically talking to Arden because I have a relationship and I love the Arden. I love the Arden. I really mean that. But I expect you to also come see a Power Street show. Half of y'all have not even, who has given to Power Street and who has supported Power Street? Eater and the X. Walter DeShields every year gives to us. Lanish every year gives to us. And they don't give us something. Melody Wong gives to us. You know what? Like my comrades have kept our mission alive. While y'all sit back, ask us to do free work. And you know what, y'all? We have been doing this. We have been supporting each other. So it's no longer on us. We know how to do it. We've been doing it. It's up to these allies to get it together. Because at the end of the day, like I really, y'all need to do better. So I hope that like, if I'm canceled, I've probably been canceled. I've been blacklisted. Y'all have never given me work. I've only survived here as a teaching artist. That's my truth. But I don't need y'all. But the future, the children need y'all. The city needs y'all to do better. So you know what? Today, the way y'all can do is start thinking about how you reevaluate your salary. You don't have enough money. Yes, you do. I've been surviving off of $20,000 a year. Power Street, 8 years of doing free labor. And you still asking me to do free work. So nah, give up your salary. That's what y'all need to do. Right? Blanca started doing some type of shit at the Wilma. I don't know if she here, where she at. But maybe she could talk to y'all about what it means to divide a $90,000, $100,000, whatever $1,000 salary y'all got, right? Why y'all expect me to teach Charlotte's Web when our kids need conflict resolution theater?
Thank you, Gabby. I really appreciate your comments. I'm going to throw it back to the room right now. We have another question on the chat, and if you all could consider answering that one, I'm going to throw it back to the room at the CEC.
All right, while they pull up to ask, does anybody in that chat want to respond to what Gabriella passionately said?
I really need to say this. I want to say this to everyone, the reason for this telephone exactly what she did. This town hall is not about hurting your feelings, but it is about making you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is about that. You know why? Because we have stepped on eggshells for a long time. We can't step on eggshells anymore. I believe that all of us, we can't do this without alliances. We have to have people like Quintessa. We have to have Julia. We have to have Candace. We have to have Walter. We have to have Lizzie. We have to have Daniel, Tiffany, Brian, and Dr. Asini. We have to have you. However, she has the right to feel the way she feels. This is what we're talking about, systemic racism in turbulent times. Now that we see that she's hurting, and an artist like that is hurting, what are we going to do in this room to heal her?
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Before you pull the, so we're going to have Alex, we wanted you to be able to speak on, the last question that we had or anything that Gabriella said, and then we're going to go back to the room to see if anybody from our Zoom room wants to either address the question or maybe talk about, what Gabriella said or offer some healing or whatever the case may be. Let's start with, I'll get to you.
Yes, I think as a white artistic director trying to build a theater for this city that focuses on the classics, part of the challenge that I'm working through is how to create a space that is a space for collaboration for all voices in a safe way, in a responsible way. And I think that's a really hard question that I think a lot of us are struggling with. How do you be true to your mission statement as a theater company, acknowledging all the complications of these pieces of drama that we're creating? Because to me, it's through the complications that we are telling human stories, real stories, important stories. But how can we bring in the full community, both in terms of artists as well as in terms of audiences? And we've definitely, in the 10 years of Quintessence, struggled. We've made great progress. We've also failed a number of times and failed a number of our artists. So that's the question that I keep asking myself, how to do that better, how to not put perspective of a kind of Western tradition for telling white stories and putting or forcing
Black bodies into those stories, or putting the expectations or those styles on top of Black voices and Black artists, but also making sure that they aren't just whitewashed stories or only through a white perspective. So I'm talking with as many friends and collaborators as I can to figure out how to do that better, and also how to address the years, centuries of that not being addressed and not being open.
Before, hold tight. Daniel, did you want to add on before we go?
Yeah. First, I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I truly get it. I felt it. I've experienced it. I've seen it. I get you feeling so excited and passionate and finally feeling hurt.
She's ministering to my soul.
I know. I get it.
Like, for real.
I get it. I feel the exact same way. I think injustice is prevalent. It's everywhere. It's corrosive. And we all need to be active and take changes and make things better for ourselves, to honor the people who were before us, to make things better for the people who come after us. And the thing that's on my heart is, how do we do that? And when we finally get to the other side, make sure that we still like who we are. Make sure that we haven't done it in a way that's abusive, that's cruel. And I understand the pain that racist.
For the Aaron order, could you separate it? We were actually just calling it inside.
But also, the racist thing he did was,
I want to add a drink as well, like not a liquor drink, just a regular drink.
Someone, then apologize, then admit
like a strawberry lemonade or some type of
He's a white man. He is racist. It's something he detests and that he tries to not let enter his life. And I am asking the question: how do you respond to that entire situation? Not the first couple words, but the entire situation. And that's the question I'm asking. And I don't know the answer, but I think we need to talk about it, because if every white person is innately racist by growing up in this cruel and corrupt system, and if the response to any form of racism is ending a career, then we are running at a dead end. That is a dead end. You need to figure out how to not be in a dead end. Things get really ugly when you get backed into a corner. It's really ugly. And that is what is on my heart.
But before we go, that's an isolated incident. So we want to kind of keep it towards how we can make changes and move forward. No, I
appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking because I got caught. I was an isolated incident. I felt like I needed to.
And that's something we want to. That is something that we want to explore. You know, not losing.
Right, and I think like it's okay. Not to respond, I think everybody in this room needs to read Grandmother's Hands. Because what you were talking about is black on black and white on black trauma, which is DNA and cellular. We don't talk about that. The most traumatic and the most people that are affected by mental health in our business are actors. And black actors make up 70% of mental health and non-mental health, depression, anxiety. That is really high. And that's just listed on like what the union people tell us who use our insurance. So let's not mention how big that must be in the larger sphere. So the whole idea is that it's not sufficient, it's not an answer. But I'm exhausted of people not thinking that this constant abuse is traumatic and that it's cellular. And the fact that we are only 50 years from people lynching people on trees. And if you don't listen to anxiety, I'm just saying, no, I'm talking about the fact that when the NAACP in New York, you're supposed to sign up 100 people, 10 people, 50 people. And in Florida, where it was 100 people every day, they used to say you want blood in your orange juice, okay? And nobody talked about that. We don't talk about it. We can't have reconciliation because nobody talks about it and nobody brought it up. People always talk about the Holocaust, but they had the case in Nuremberg. You can talk about apartheid, but when they let Nelson Mandela out and they started truth and reconciliation cases, they admitted that apartheid was wrong. The government did. Nobody has admitted that the atrocities that have happened of enslaved individuals in this country that's still on capitalism. Do you realize your 30-year mortgage is because of the fact that you used to be taking a 30-year loan out on slaves? The whole system that we have is built on Black bodies. But because we don't talk about the history to our children, and we don't talk about the history to other artists, people think that they're stepping in. Like this idea of classical. If you're doing Shaw, it should be filled with Black people. There's no type of space that you're putting classical on a Black body when Black bodies created those spaces. So we have to really know our history and know the fact that trauma is real. And what you saw that young lady say, and what you saw everybody not say, and what you heard this young lady behind me scream and shout about, is the fact that it's cellular. That means that the very fact that we are not generations from people. Can you imagine watching something swinging on top of you and with your kids and families, and the fact that it doesn't affect your very soul? That is what we're talking about. And that's what has to heal. And that doesn't heal overnight. And it doesn't heal with just therapy. But if we don't educate ourselves, and we stop repeating the same thing. I'm exhausted of telling people this story who are 50 and 40 and 20, and they don't know. The books are available. The books are there to see, and they have spoken this truth. And we weep on Ella Baker and James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry, who died to do this work, to make sure that we wouldn't have to do this. So the question is, don't reinvent the wheel. Open a goddamn book and realize what the hell is going on, and see the patterns and see the sequences of this stuff, that we don't have to deal with it. Yes, she needs to heal, but we all need to heal, because just living in a Black body is traumatic. I'll tell you about the book. I'll share it.
So we'll put the resources in the link. We gotta move. So do you have our panel lined up? What we do want to say to your question, the root of your question without the other incident was how that we would move as far as understanding people who make apologies. But keep in mind, people are doing stuff and apologizing. People are doing stuff knowingly and so-called apologizing. They shoot people on the street and they apologize. They won't offer me a job in a room at a major theater company. Oh, we're sorry. So you got to keep that in mind. I understand maybe this man was single, maybe people not. I don't know that in your person. But be mindful that these same people are saying they're sorry and still doing the same thing. Can we pull up the people on the Zoom, folks?
Yeah, so over here on Zoom, we did have Morgan Cherisu to respond, and let's go to her.
First off, I just want to acknowledge the elders that spoke about epigenetics, because it is very important that everyone study epigenetics, because it is literally, it's on a cellular level, the trauma that Black people, I'm not going to say people of color, Black people go through. We can get into that another time, but that's not in my time right now. But I just want to respond to the gentleman that mentioned classics. And I think this actually ties into the epigenetic piece, because I think what needs to happen is a return to Afrocentric values. Now, hear me out. Afrocentric values is literally the appreciation of Black bodies, the appreciation of the spiritual aspect that we have with our Creator. Now, the gentleman that said, well, it's really hard to do your mission and incorporate, I'm paraphrasing, the diversity and inclusion. And I think that's the mindset issue, because we have classics. You wouldn't have Shaw if you didn't have Bus. You wouldn't have classic. You wouldn't be able to call a classic, because all of the information that Sophocles, Aristophanes, all of them, they got it from Kemet. They got it from Africa. And no, don't worry, I'm not going to go on to a little Hotep jab. I promise I'm not like that. But it is important that we change the language, because just how the first elder spoke on how we need to change the rubric, they've changed the rubric so much that they don't think that we have classics. They think it's how are we going to incorporate? We started it. You need to do some more work. I think it is imperative that white institutions do the work. Educate yourself, because the mask, we have been the ones that had to wear it. This whole, I study Montessori education. Shout out to the teaching artists in the room and the actors, woo woo. And there's this whole big thing on proprio position, which is basically how you act in space, where you are in space. And basically young people now they're not aware of how their bodies move in space. And really what that really is a comment on whiteness. Because when you operate in a white body, you don't have to worry about how you operate in space. When you have privilege, the thought that we don't have, the thought that classics can't be included with Black people is a sickness. That's what I said, a sickness. And I'm not coming at you personally. I'm not even sure who you were, but I am calling out that spirit, and I am calling out that thought. Because we have classics. We are the classics. That's the return to Afrocentric education that I am talking about. Thank you. Because we've had to learn y'all's. We know all of the Shakespeares, all of the Shaws, all of the Eugene O'Neills. We know them all. We know them all.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you for your input there. I've asked Lanish to weigh in on some of this, and I'm going to ask you a question in the middle of this, Lanish, but if you could go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'm going to move you to the second screen here.
Cool.
Just introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are. Not that nobody doesn't know who you are.
No, I'm Lanish Miller-White, Executive Director of Theater in the X and co-founder, along with Walter DeShields, who's in the room, and Carlo Campbell, who's acting right now and can't be here. When it comes to what you can do, what we can do, we're out here and we're doing it. And I think that, and plenty of people I think have touched on it tonight, like it is going to take giving something up to do this. And so it's gonna be uncomfortable. You will have to relinquish positions that white people currently hold in your organizations. You will have to relinquish season spots in your season calendar to turn it over to companies who are doing it outside of the spectrum, to turn it over to Theater in the X, Power Street, KCAC, First World. And it's not just casting or co-production, or you're going to have to give the floor. And you're going to have to give the floor for these companies who already been doing it to bring it in nuts to soup, to bring it in box office to director, to house manager, to actor, to lighting designer, to costume designer, all of those. Because we are doing it and we have all the things. Even though no one can seem to find the Black and people of color designers and actors and directors, et cetera, we're here and we talk to each other and we're doing it. And so it's going to take relinquishing your position. And of course that's hard. Of course that's hard. That's gonna shake your world. But like, if you're really like, what can I do? You have to make the space. Because we've already taken all of the outside space that we can take. We're already doing it on the outside. So if you feel like you want to bring us in, you have to move aside.
Thank you, Lanish. And I am going to ask if Terry or Lee would like to respond. And if you would, please jump in there. And
I would, thank you. Hi, this is Terry. Gabby, I want to thank you. I came here to listen and to learn, and I just want to thank you for your incredible honesty, and also to apologize. We have been trying through partnerships to have meaningful relationships and to figure out a way to utilize our resources and our position in the community. And so with Teatro del Sol, with Go Cash Productions. And so when you start to talk about space and not needing it, I hear that and appreciate that and realize that in order for for me and for the Ardent to be better allies, there's just much more to learn and more conversations to have. So your honesty is something I really appreciate. And I would very much want to continue the conversation. I was going to say earlier, actually, Gabby, right before you speak, that these partnerships and residencies have been really important to us, and something that once we move past this COVID situation, something that we not only want to continue, but really want to expand. And I understand that that may not make sense. You know, there might be other things that we can do, other ways we can partner together. And I'm hoping we can continue that conversation. And again, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Terry. And Lee, if you wanted to weigh in.
Sure. I'll keep it brief because, yes, also here to listen and very appreciative of being here and having the opportunity to hear from everyone. I think this is speaking from a personal perspective, that the idea that there is one way to create success or what we should all be growing into is something we have to let go of. That is a white supremacist idea to grow in specific ways, and we need to let that go. That's something that I'm willing to give up. That what is success and who is defining that, and how can those with resources, larger companies, bigger budgets, buildings, be the people asking the funders and putting ourselves on the line to say, give the money over here. And I won't get into very specific ideas that I have here, though I'm happy to keep talking about them. But I think one ask I would have now is, because we have this pause where we're not in spaces necessarily producing for audiences, what does partnership look like now? What does relationships and giving space now look like? And how can we use this time to learn so that when we come back, we're not coming back to the old normal that wasn't working, that isn't working. And we need to use this time to be better in many ways. So those are just some of my initial reactions.
Thank you, Lee. Richard, I see your hand, but I'm going to toss it back to the room real quick. They just asked for me to toss it back to the room, and they should be catching up to us in a moment. Sorry for the lack of audio. I do need, I'm trying to communicate with my tech.
Would anybody like to respond to anything?
Yeah, there's so much. I'm gonna try to do it in 2 minutes, and so I'm gonna see if I can whip it off. I think to one of Dan's comments earlier, you know, I mean, one of the primary distinctions of oppression is that the oppressed never need to understand the oppressor never needs to understand the oppressed, but the oppressed always needs to understand the oppressor. Because if they don't, then they don't survive. So it is not incumbent or the burden of the oppressed not to be mean to the oppressor after being oppressed and for their people's history, right? So to that specific situation, and I like my man, I really do, right? But we can't ask folks who are historically oppressed to say, don't be mean to the folks who have caused trauma caused trauma in a particular experience, right? Like, he's gonna be all right. He's a white man in America. He's gonna be fine. You know what I'm saying? But that general idea that, hey y'all, hey black folks, hey brown folks, don't be mean to the white people because we don't want to turn into monsters too. No, fuck that. right? Sometimes you want to get some of this anger. You want to get some of what has been building up for oppressed folks. On to contestants and you were just saying about classic theater. I think this is a basic formula for all white folk in Philadelphia. Let's stay there. We're gonna talk about theater, but this is the basic. Philadelphia is more than 40% black.
Yeah.
I want y'all to hear me, artistic directors on Zoom. 20% brown. And we got some other folks that ain't white. This is a majority city of people of color, mainly black folks. If your audiences, if you're bored, if you're artists, if you're teaching artists, if they don't reflect this fucking city, then you're doing it wrong. Yeah. It don't get no simpler than that. So if I walk into a theater and I see an audience that's 90% white, right? For whatever story you tell them. I was at the Art and I saw one of the best shows I ever saw in my life. What's that joint y'all in? Jimmy Ocean. Yeah. Right? I saw it a couple times. The audience still was 90% white, right? That's a problem. What does your audience development look like? Right? When I look at your board, what does that look like? Because you know what? We still got to hold white theaters accountable. We need to do our own thing.
No, you need to give you the millions of dollars.
They do. And I'm pushing you that. But you can't tell black stories and not be reached out to black folk. You can't be a black community. I want that too. I want that too.
Give the rap is for black women from a certain social economic group, period. I don't care what they say. I'm not putting up white shows. I'm not doing it.
No, you don't have to do that. But if they gonna do that,
you know why Jimmy Ocean was one of the best shows because they got the resources. And if they gave you the resources, if the show that you want to do is going to be super crazy. No, I want them who are not whoever did them. I want to show you there in the X how to get the $1 million budget. I want to see how you do it. I want to see how you do it on $60,000, right? I want to see how you do it when they give you $600,000. I want to see how they do it when you can pay your mortgage. Let them build for them. Show us how to get the resources for us. I disagree with that. You're not going to try to force me in my house.
No, that's real. That's real. But they make a mission. They say, listen, they got the mission.
That's real.
This is the thing that you like.
No, that's real. That's real.
Right?
And I tell them, look on that 5 minute mission. They do. I get it. So we only get to 9:45. So we only get to 9:45. Okay? I can't even take anybody else. Can we have a 5? It's not 15. Y'all take a 5, go to the bathroom. We convene. Lord.
I don't want to do that. I would have never brought I wanted to say I appreciate having ended it. I'm sure you thought we were disagreeing, but also
Thank you, everyone. We're just taking a 5-minute break so folks can get some drinks and use the restroom in the room. Please also take a 5-minute break for yourselves. Really appreciate your attendance. The reason why we had to cut away from our feedback is because they wanted to get one feedback in the room and take this 5-minute break. So we'll try and get back here in less than 5. And so we should be back live by 9 p.m.
Folks, we're back, please. We're back.
And if anybody in here, just trying to reassemble the room and have us all be back. Thank you so much for the short break.
I know.
We're back. If you hear my voice, find your way to your seat. If you hear my voice, if you hear my voice, go back to your seat. If you hear my voice, go back to your seat. 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 If you hear my voice, go back to your seat. 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 All right. Thank you. And we are back. 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 This second half of the discussion is going to be short, a little bit shorter because we exhausted a lot of time at the beginning, which is good. You know, it takes more than just one of these types of events to get the ball rolling on so much hurt and pain and things that we have experienced in theater, because it tends to go a whole bunch of different ways because of the trauma that we have experienced. This second half, we are going to talk about how we can heal. What does that look like? Okay, so we're going to take questions from the audience, people from the panel, want to add some suggestions on how we can heal, and then we are going to go to our folks on Zoom. All right, suggestions, thoughts, how we can move forward and heal. Yes. Yes, we're going to do that. Yes, say your name first, everybody.
My name is William. I think just an important part to remember since we're talking about healing, like how to move forward, that healing is not a simple thing. There's not one solution. There's not one thing we're going to do that's going to fix everything. It's complex. So, for example, the discourse that was happening just now, like two truths can exist at the same time. On one hand, yeah, white theaters, y'all need to start making more statements. If you want to put black people on the stage, make sure you got black people on your audience, make sure you got black people working behind the scenes, all of that. But at the same time, come up off some of that shit. Come up off some of the resources. Come up off some of this money that y'all had. Or like, it's not just there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all solution. It's going to be a myriad of putting out little fires that's going to fix this collectively.
Okay. How we can heal. How we can heal. 2 minutes. I gotta make sure I get it right. I know everything you're saying. I mean, how we can heal. First of all, it's easy to talk about the art and letting black people in and doing. And I thought it was admirable what
they did the cash stones. I had only wished someone had done that with me. So my whole thing is how we can move forward and heal is what about Bush Fire Theater? Who had that space? Let's use that interact model that killed the game, where they got 5 theaters in one space. They showed us, they modeled how to do it. When let our Black theaters do that? What about the Freedom Theater, right? They have a space, but use space. Where's the 5 Black theaters that can do that when we're doing like they did when they created the film industry? You won't let us in New York, we'll go to LA and create the film industry. Like Tyler Perry showed us how to do it. You won't let me in here, I'm going to Atlanta. So my question is, where's the accountability for the Blacks that own the space? Do we have 5 theater companies in this space, right? Do we have? That's so the thing that's right there, solution. Let's knock on the door and say, how can we have the 5? This is the theaters in the Exits of West Philly in that beautiful theater that they have in West Philly. Why couldn't we get there? Let's not hold the artist accountable because we're not holding our own accountable.
Yes, ma'am.
Start with your own. I'm gonna get that. They don't owe us nothing. We owe ourselves first. So let's do that. How can we hold them? That's what I want to know. How can we say, Bush Fire, here's 3 more theater companies, and this is how you do it to let them in.
And I think they gonna take before I take it. If y'all want to clap for that, that's fine. So we should. I'm sorry, y'all. I just want to be able to clarify. We should hold each other accountable. But then you have somebody, Mr. What's the name of the Bush Fire? Mr. Al, who did not open his doors to people in the action when I was in the witness. And we was out here in the rain. And that's our own brother. We're not even talking about the folks at and I've known people who've gone to Mr. Al and asked. I had my own, I'm not putting out my own stuff. I do something very, I do improv. Let me finish. I have an improv production company with one of my best friends. We do improv comedy. She works for multi-millionaire. She sat there with Mr. Al, but because he had wrong preconceived notions of what people should have in theater, he would not work with her. She works for the millionaire. So we have to get our own people together before we can even talk about something else that somebody else is doing. We're not supporting each other like this. Why should I have to go outside of Philly to get my equity for? We should be able to, I shouldn't have to keep going to audition at the Arden. No shade to nobody. You know, I shouldn't have to keep going to auditioning here and there to get my MC points when I should have my folks here that I should be able to get stuff from. I should be able to teach. I should be able to teach voice lessons. I should be able to do things with my own community who I will break my neck to work for. I get offered for stuff, but I'm going to work with my folks first. And we don't have that here. So let's discuss that one. Yeah. Anybody want to answer that? Dr. Hall?
I can say one of the things I think that is, for me at least, I don't have. There seems to be a lack of trust, and so understanding that when I come in to work with you, I'm not trying to take power. Yes. You know, I'm trying to add my voice to the conversation. I'm trying to bring my talent to you and share that with you. And hopefully that you will share yours with me. Because if there's something you got and I want to know, I'm gonna ask you, can you teach me how to do? Can you show me how that happens? Because there's no need for me to just trust you. And we have to go in with this idea of that I'm going to trust that you're going to care for me as a human being as I care for you. I'm going to see the humanity in you first, rather than seeing this is a potential enemy or they have something that something I'm holding back something from you. And so, you know, I think one of the ways that we mend is, you know, going into this and with an open heart. And how do we do that? And part of that is saying, I'm just going to leave that aside and I'm giving you a new face. I'm giving you a fresh spirit. I'm giving you me, the authentic me, without holding on to historical trauma as much as I can. And when I have that moment, I'm going to let you know and I'm going to step out and go do my thing and I'm going to come back and give you the face of me. I'm going to try to give you the honest me as much as I can. And I think if we understand that we're here to learn You know, the word director comes from the word teacher in Greek. It's the idea of learning lessons. Our theater is to not only to entertain, but it is also to educate. And if we can't educate ourselves to talk about our emotions, how to deal with our emotions, how we feel, how are we going to relate that to an audience so that they authentically understand what is happening in those pieces that we're presenting to them? And so that's, you know, to me, that's what it's about, for being as open as I can as a person to the artists that I work with. I will tell people in the heartbeat, I don't have it to give you, but I can give you this. I don't have the money, but I can feed you. I can give you transportation. I can give you this. I can make this for you. I can do that for you. I may not be able to give you the dollars, but I can give you this. And it comes from an authentic place. And I'm blessed to be able to work with actors who feel my authenticity. And so if we can try to do that with each other, I think things, you know, may get a little bit better.
All right, I'm going to take another comment from someone in the audience, Jeff. How we get healed. I'm trying to keep it as much on topic as possible. It seems to me that a lot of this is about the economic situation. I agree that maybe scrapping the initial script and starting from scratch would be the way to go. Trying to get money from a fish is very difficult. So, you know, maybe thinking outside the box. Like, for instance, you know, we have new commodities coming on the market, marijuana. There's recreational marijuana. They haven't designated those properties yet. Even in places where they have designated those properties, get it. Ask for them, beg for them. I would like to see prison reform, and I would also like to see race relations dealt with in the form of training, in the form of cultural aspects. I went to a school that had foreigners, blacks, and minority blacks. And we had to establish that those are the same things. Foreigners can go back home. Their families had money to send them here in the first place. They did not need help. Minorities here are here on scholarships. That's how we got it. But also, soliciting from outside of the country. You know, the country may have sanctions from China, but it doesn't mean you can solicit. China helps Africa. And soliciting from Africa. You know, sometimes you have to go around. You ever go around somebody to their boss? Sometimes you gotta go around. You gotta hold you back. You gotta go around. You gotta seek out those other people. You have to look at not young artists that are interested in theater and arts, but you gotta look at young business people, inventors. You gotta go into the college. You gotta look for, you know, internet didn't always exist. Marijuana wasn't always legal. These things have happened since then. These have created large income, brand new income that did not exist before. You have to look for the brand new income, the brand new commodity. You have to talk to inventors. You have to talk to students in business. You got to go to MIT. You got to go where there's people that are thinking about, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, all right. I'm just going to come back to the, wait, I got to give somebody else. I got to give somebody else. 30 seconds. I can't. I got to give somebody else. We have like 3 people that didn't get a chance to say no. I'm sorry.
So when we talk about solutions, one of the things that we did in DC is we tried to model the old school model, which was trying to do the theater company ourselves. And after just struggling for so many years, we built a festival. But we built a festival of partnership. And the partnership said, how can I give Theater X, how can I give Desi and Camden Rec all of their money, 100% of their tickets, and still survive as a festival? So 11 years later, we now represent over 800 Black artists worldwide. We have over 600 playwrights that are in our queue that we can call at any moment and put up a production. But it's a production of partnership. So we broke the model of how we were doing theater and started to partner. And we partnered this year, or last year, we did such a great job at partnering with the theater company that they gave us the space for free because they wanted the art. It wasn't a handout, it was the partnership. They needed the bodies in their building, and we had it. And so the new solution I think that we need to look at is how do we partner? How do we build together? How do we what do you make it when you bring people, you know, somebody has some food, you have something else? Potluck. How do you make potluck together? The stone soup. And that's what we did.
Wonderful. I want to hear 30 seconds from the both of you, and then we're going to go to our Zoom folks to weigh in. Let's keep it on how we can heal and how we can move forward based off of everything that we talked about tonight.
Yeah, the thing that I hear that strikes me the most, and is the most meaningful thing that I can do, is what are you going to give up, right? And so we talked at Curio about getting Black leadership, just right on running this company, and stepping back, getting Black leadership, and stopping the white inertia in our company. And with Black leadership and support, help, and give away. You know what I mean? Step back. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're actively doing. And but it's easy for me. It's easier for me because I'm really not making a salary at Curio. I'm just showing my cards here, you know? So what am I giving up? We do have a facility there that, you know, we feel like we work hard, whatnot, whatever, that's our story. But step back and give it away to someone else. That's what we're actively trying to do. All right?
Thank you so much. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30
Oh,
29.
All right, 29. All right. How do we heal? There's ways to heal from external sources. There's ways to heal from internal sources. Some things can only be healed with help. Some things can be healed internally. And I think it's important that we assess and make sure we make the proper people responsible. If there's a way you can heal by yourself, I think that is healthy. People can help with that. I think that is wonderful. But what I'm speaking to is not don't be mean. What I'm speaking to is be precise. Rage is important. It matters. It sets things right. But if you send rage at something that isn't guilty, you're going to obliterate. You know, it's what an abusive parent does to a child. They have real rage, and they take it out on something that's not the proper target. And so I would say healing can be done with awareness, focus, and intent. Use your rage. Be angry. Set things right, but do it with intent.
All right, that's the 30 seconds. So we're getting ready to pull up our panel. While they're pulling up the panel, I do want to say everybody has a paper in your seat. If you have it, wave it up in the air. I want to make sure everybody has one when they leave. I will make sure you
Okay,
have one.
I would just like
This
to.
paper is a challenge, okay? For those who are on the Zoom panel, it will be emailed to you. It is a challenge.
I would like you to
that
go
today
ahead.
is not just a
I know you
conversation.
can probably
That
hear
we are going to
over
do the
that,
work
but
once we leave
you're gonna
this
speak
building.
when they're
There
done.
will be another town hall meeting on August 31st.
I feel like that was.
There's going to be another town hall meeting to find out what are you doing? The things that we talked about tonight. Are you making active changes? So it's just a barometer. It's not saying you have to do everything, but you should be making some changes from what we talked about tonight and what is on our challenge for you all to be better allies. And even for us black folks to be better allies to each other. We're not putting all the onus on anybody else. We're going to do the work that we need to do to heal ourselves. We want help. Yes, we're not begging for nothing. This is the premise of what we were talking about tonight. But if you want to know how to be better allies, you're going to read that statement and you're going to do the work. Can we have someone who would like to speak first?
Yeah, we're gonna toss this to Noelle. Noelle, if you just introduce yourself and go ahead and say what did you want to say.
Hi everyone, my name is Noelle Diane Johnson. I'm a stage manager, director, advocate, healer in the community. I'm really grateful to be here with you all, and I'm grateful that the conversation has shifted from white people and white people problems that honestly I can't do anything about, to healing within our communities. I just want to point out in the same ways that anything that is produced from a theater company based in white supremacy and institutional racism, it doesn't matter what the intention is. Whatever comes through is going to be racist and based in white supremacy. In the same way that if you filter water through a dirty sieve, the water is going to be dirty. So I think it's a really great opportunity. Broadway just announced today that they're closed for the rest of the year anyway. So this is the time to just kind of let it hit the floor and rebuild. In the same way within our communities, hurt people. And I'm hearing the pain and I feel it and I know it and I hold space for you all and, you know, healing That's my priority as an artist. I just want to make sure that we are all being accountable for our own behavior and what we bring to the table. So Black men, I have to call out Black men. There's healing that needs to be done there. Black straight people, there's healing that needs to be done there. Black cis people, there's healing that needs to be done there. In the same way, you know, if you are hurt, if you are suffering from your own trauma, which we all are because we're a product of this society, but if you are carrying around that pain and that trauma from whatever has happened, you are going to hurt someone because it filters through. So I just really want, in the same way that I would like to ask for theater companies based in white supremacy to kind of just, you know, we can't produce and do theater in the same ways that we've been doing it all this time anyway, because of what's happening in the world. In those same ways, I think it's time for us to pivot and think about new things, kind of focus on new things, focus on trauma healing, focus on energy healing, focus on, you know, what is my identity? What are my experiences? What do I bring to a room every time I come to a room and try to produce art? Am I causing further trauma to someone that I'm working with? Even though I come into this space and I say that, you know, I'm a part of this community, you know what I mean? If we have an all Black space, but we are continuing to cause trauma to one another because of the trauma that's been put on us based in the society that we live in and white supremacy and slavery and on and on and on, we're going to continue to perpetuate that. And it comes through in the art. It does. It comes through in the art. It's present in the rooms. I've seen it. I see the pain. I see the trauma. I see how tired people are, how exhausting it is to get through a production when trauma is so present in the room. So that's kind of my main focus. And I'm super interested in putting out accountability and asking theater companies and different groups to take accountability and actually enacting those boundaries. But it's also time for us to look in the mirror and look at ourselves and look at what we bring to the table as well.
Thank you, Noelle. And I want to toss this to Starfire next. And Starfire, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all beautiful people. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hey, hello. I'm Starfire. I'm a curator of energy. Y'all know who I am up in these streets, okay? Hello. Love y'all so much. I just want to bring it to a point of each and every one of us in this room, in the Zoom chat, have a human responsibility for our own freedom and our own healing. I believe honestly that healing comes within. And if we are to be honest with ourselves, we are tired. And you have to ask yourself, am I moving out of because I have to, or am I moving out of a cup that is full? If I take the responsibility as an individual, as a creative, as a person to make sure that I am doing everything I can to make sure I am valued, that my value doesn't come from somebody who doesn't see me, that my value does not come from whether you hire me or not, that my value comes because I know that I am gifted, I am talented, I am divine, I am created for a purpose and a vision. It doesn't matter who else sees me. The universe will reflect that within yourself. So we have, if I'm a human being doing everything I can, every single thing I can to be human, to be kind, you don't have to think about what do we do next. You know what to do next because you know what's human. You know what's right. You know what's equitable. I don't have to sit in my seat and say, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? I move out the way. I move out the way so that my other brethren and sisterin can have a space. I don't think, oh, let me just do what I've been doing, because the good thing about this pause is that we can stop. The thing about COVID and the fact that it still is, we can stop. A lot of times we go by rote. We're just doing. We're doing. We're doing. Are we being? Are we intentional? Are we coming from a place of active healing? And there's healing. There's healing that needs to come just in the Black theater community. There's healing that we need to do ourselves. There's healing that we need to do in partnership with our allies, but creating spaces of healing, of worth, because no matter what happens, no matter if you gave me the world, I will wrap it up, okay? If you don't know your value, if you don't know your self-worth, People can take advantage of you, but you have to say, I'm not doing it for me. I'm not doing what doesn't bring me joy for me. I'm not doing what doesn't satisfy me for me. And if each individual comes with that fullness and that fire, baby, we can make shit happen. And give us the coin. Where's my money at? It's like, I'm just, okay, I love y'all. Love and light. Y'all doing a great job, Nicole, Tamara, First World. I love y'all. I'm out. I'm not out, but I'm in these streets.
Thank you, Starfire. We've been asked to go to Pax and John. Are you guys available for that?
Hi, everyone. Hello. It's really good to be here and to see all of your faces. I'm really grateful to hear what has been shared, and I feel that there's so much more that I can do as a white accomplice to Black folks and people of color in this room, and I'm thinking about that, and I want to do more. That's what I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah. Hey, folks. Just really grateful especially for what Starfire and Noel just said, just like processing the beauty and power of that, and listening and learning to all the amazing voices in this room. And also want to give a special love to Gabby for her bravery, for speaking out. We have a lot of work to do. The bearded ladies have a lot of work to do, and we as a theater community have a lot of work to do. And I'm excited to do it because I love y'all, and I love being part of this community, and I think love is work. So grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you to Z for the invitation.
All right, thank you. And for one more answer to the question of how can we heal, we'd like to go to Rachel Camp.
Hi, y'all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, beautiful people. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for everything that's been said. There's a lot of wisdom, and it's just a fraction of the wisdom that y'all hold. It's really beautiful to hear. I'm really into action steps, and I think there are action steps for healing as well. There are action steps for amplifying voices that aren't yours. There are action steps for where your money goes. There are action steps for including voices in a room. Changing the makeup of the rooms that we already have and that already exist in the programs that we have in this community as they're built, and the programs that don't yet exist. I'm really excited about ways to look at the institutions and programs that we have, ways to incorporate community feedback. I'm super into a town hall. I'm really excited about the number of people who are here and the access that y'all have put together. I think that facilitated town halls and meetings and moderated discussions do a lot for making sure that a space is healthy and cared for and tending to the participants. So that's something I'm really interested in the community feedback that I'm engaged with and that we can all be engaged with. So thank you, shout out to the moderators and for the work you're doing, both online and in person. I think it's just super essential. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of bullshit to sift through to get to the part where there are action steps. And so, yeah, major appreciation for facilitators here for the conversations. Hope to keep being invited and to keep seeking them out. I really think that the work that folks are doing to put these conversations in the public eye and to help amplify is incredible. And I just really also want to shout out what Noel and Starfire are saying. I think healing is at the center of how I think about art too. And I think that it is an untapped and implicit part of theater arts that I think we can move into the explicit to bring healing to communities. And part of that starts in the way we make it. So thank you. Excited for more.
Thank you, Rachel. And I just wanted to add something real quick before I throw it back to the room. One of the big things that I know from seeking healing and seeking help in healing is that every injury takes as a minimum of 7 positives to heal. And so while we're talking about healing, we have to understand that for a long time, just like, using masks during COVID and staying home during COVID, you don't see the results, really. You don't see what's going on because it's a process. And so healing is going to take a while. And one of the biggest things that I can think of to initiate a healing process is to create actual written policies for your companies, for yourselves. Write things down. There's a paper that is in the room that you guys can sign on to. But even aside from that paper, write your own policies that you think are action steps that you can heal from. And for that, I'm going to go back to the room and give it back over to you guys.
Did you all enjoy yourselves tonight? Did you enjoy the conversation? Yes, it's hard, but it's very needed. So, we're getting ready to wrap up. Can I have everybody stand up real quick? I know, I got you, Mama Z. We have everybody stand up. Mama Z gonna get some remarks. Let's go around and give one word. Either whether it's gonna be what you're gonna do moving forward, how you felt about tonight, how you feel about healing, or whatever the case may be. We are a tribe here tonight. We're leaving as family and as creatives together. One word around the room, and then I'm bringing Mama Z to the front to close. Can we start with you, Steve? Hope. Hope.
Love.
Love. Acceptance. Acceptance. I can't hear you.
Peace.
Peace.
Action.
Action.
Serve.
Serve. Equality. Equality.
Commitment.
Solution. Do.
Education.
Education.
Give.
Give.
Responsibility.
Responsibility. Restore. Restore.
Embrace.
Embrace.
Creation.
Creation.
Trust.
Trust.
Rejuvenate.
Rejuvenated.
Motivated.
Motivated. Community. Community. Listen. Listen.
Empowerment.
Empowerment.
Beginnings.
Beginnings. Y'all was working, but I know y'all felt something tonight. Come on.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Deconstruct.
Deconstruct. I do like equality, but I'm going to say equity. Equity. And tonight we're a tribe. So we're going to have Mama Z. That's a lot of them. And it's not. Okay, so go ahead, Mama Z. So what I would like to say is, I want to say thank you to the panel. I love you guys. You answered the call tonight. Everyone here tonight answered the call. I didn't think that it was going to go off the way it did. I was talking to some of the members and some of the people in my company. I did not think that this would turn into this. And I want to say that we are so proud that it did turn into this. If we do not talk about the problems that are hurting us, that has traumatized us, and that has put fear, it's nothing but fear in us, especially in theater. We're supposed to be the people who create art. We're supposed to be the people who share and give love and tell stories and make the audience feel good when they go home. And inside of this community with Blacks and whites, there's a problem. We're not making our own selves feel good and show love when we go home. So this is the beginning of a start of a town hall. We're going to have another one with a new panel coming up in August. And I expect everyone who was here, we're gonna try and do it outside with a nice stage, maybe with a band. We're gonna be looking more sophisticated. We didn't know that it's gonna be so overwhelming. We might have to get 2 technical teams for Zoom so we can get it right next time. But I wanna thank everyone in this room. I wanna thank everyone on that panel for showing up. That's what you did. You showed up. So we love you here at First World. You will be receiving more information about the second town hall. This is a continuation. Please, when you come back, we need to hear what changes that you're planning on making. What are you implementing in your companies to move forward and make progress? I want to say, as African Americans and brown people, we are worthy, we are worthy, we are worthy. I say.
You?